you died.
What do you think this one is then? Alpha, Golan, could even be a Jotun. Always a surprise.
Okay, so welcome back to another episode of Intermittent Nonsense. Attempting again to restart Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, which, as I tried to do the last time I streamed this, oh my gosh, pain in the butt. I had my controllers fail out on me. And so yeah, did not have a great time of that. But here we are, trying it again for the second time. Trying to remember the character that I had before. Not that it really matters, because like you can just... Which is the one that I like? I can never remember. I think it was the first one. Whoo! Eye color... I think green's all the way over there. Eyeshadow color, I don't really care. Lipstick color, I might leave for now. Hairstyle. So, as you can see, the game kicks you right into character creation, but that's not really what's... So, gosh, where to even start with this game? This game has such a storied history, and the fact that we even have Re-Reckoning, the remastered version of it at all, is kind of amazing. I guess... no. Sure. I guess the story starts in like maybe 2008. Let's start in about 2009. Okay, so Big Huge Games is a Baltimore-based developer. Is a Baltimore-based developer. Both was and is. Funny stories there. Mostly known for the Rise of Nations games. So if you grew up playing like PC games in the early 2000s, playing strategy games in the early 2000s, Rise of Nations should be fairly familiar to you. And if not, you know, well, you're either younger than that or that's unfortunate. And at some point, they decided that they wanted to try make an RPG. And so they started working on something that I believe internally was called Project Mercury. Yeah, that'll do. And so, at the time, they were owned by THQ, you know, big entertainment publisher. So they were working on Project Mercury, and then THQ kind of decided that they didn't want to have anything to do with Big Huge Games anymore. So they cut them loose. And around this, that was about 2009. Now, around the same time, Curt Schilling, who was a Red Sox player, famous baseball player, decided that his next thing was going to be producing video games. And so he, yeah, that's fine. So he founded 38 Studios. That was his number for the Red Sox, 38. Keep that in mind. Not the 38. Well, the 38, but also that little line there just now. Keep that in mind. So he founds 38 Studios. And he gets some fairly big name talent going right away. Like, for example, he has R.A. Salvatore. So 38 Studio, Kurt Schilling, when, between games, his big thing was Ultima Online. So like the grandfather of MMORPGs, longest continuous running MMO to date. Still online, by the way, if you want to give it a try, and there is a free-to-play option. If you've never checked it out, you might want to take a look at it if you're really curious about sort of like the history of MMOs, because Ultima Online is really where all of that starts. But Schilling was a big UO player in his day, and so he wanted to make a game. Now, unfortunately, as we've seen too many times, especially in the Kickstarter era, being a passionate fan of a game is not sufficient expertise to make a game. But that didn't stop Schilling from trying, unfortunately. And so he, secured a bunch of investments. He hired R.A. Salvatore, famous fantasy writer, to basically design a world and a backstory. And like Salvatore went nuts. He wrote like a 10,000 year history of the world of Amalur. All just it was truly crazy the amount of effort he invested. I think at some point Todd McFarlane, the creator of the Spawn comics and also the designer of one particular set of Edmonton Oilers logos, and actually also I think McFarlane had a hand in the design of one of the iterations of Ultima Online 2 that never saw the light of day. Yes, and then some of his stuff ended up in Ultima Online, Mecha Blackthorn and other such things. Again, so much gaming history here that we just don't have time to go into. But and sorry, I'm just going to stand here a little bit and ramble. But anyways, so Schilling gets the idea to make a game, founds 38 Studios, and basically acquires Big Huge Games. Just buys them outright from THQ. And kind of then has them graft the Amalur setting and style onto the game they were already building, this Project Mercury. And it had a couple of other development names as it went along. But, has them sort of bring what they're already working on into the Amalur universe and set it in a particular time frame within that 10,000 year history that R.A. Salvatore had created. Meanwhile, 38 Studios started working on something that at the time, most of us, at the time that it was kind of being teased, was called Project Copernicus. It was eventually revealed as an MMO called Kingdoms of Amalur, minus the Reckoning. So the idea was that Big Huge Games was going to produce Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning as kind of a lead-in to the Amalur mythology and setting. And then Kingdoms of Amalur, the MMORPG from 38 Studios, would follow it up sometime thereafter. And I think we got like one trailer for it ultimately, and it looked utterly gorgeous. I would have happily... I'm not an MMO guy, but I would have happily played it. Just for the setting and just based on the experience of this game. This game was amazing. But... so at some point, Schilling negotiated a deal with the state of Rhode Island, basically securing a $75 million loan to develop Project Copernicus, Kingdoms of Amalur, and relocating 38 Studios to Rhode Island. Big Huge Games remained in Baltimore. And long story short, it all went south, and 38 Studios wound up shuttering, and of course that meant that Big Huge Games also closed. Big Huge Games was subsequently resuscitated by, I think, one or two of the original founders, and they produced like at least one game, I think mainly for mobile, again getting back to like the RTS, Rise of Nations kind of stuff, which, I mean, great, like glad to see the name back, but it kind of sucked in 2012 when everything came crashing down. But this game did get released, and this game was kind of, I mean, largely developed independent of Project Copernicus and 38 Studios. And like I said, it was already in the works, like at the time that Schilling kind of swept in and bought up Big Huge Games. At the time, Ken Rolston, who was notably the designer of the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, was the lead designer for Reckoning here. And actually, Reckoning released like 3 months after The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. Reckoning did not enjoy the same success as Skyrim. Skyrim, I think, pushed 10 million units. Reckoning sold about 1.2 million, a modest success. It was published under the EA Partners program, so EA was the original publisher for it, but it wasn't an EA studio that developed it. EA Partners was basically a program for indie studios to publish their work under, using EA's marketing. From EA's perspective, Reckoning did very, very well. 1.2 million units sold, nothing to laugh at. From 38 Studios' perspective, it was not nearly enough to actually ensure the success of the game, ensure the success of the company. And so, yeah. Reckoning ultimately, succeeded on its own merits, but not enough to save the company. 38 Studios closed, Big Huge Games was closed, and all the developers at Big Huge Games and 38 lost their jobs, except for like one dude, I guess, at 38 Studios, who essentially just held on to all the stuff for. And I mean, like, the state of Rhode Island tried to fire sale all of this, right? Like, 30 Studios filed for bankruptcy. Rhode Island basically took possession of everything, tried to sell as much as they could for like pennies on the dollar, basically. The state nearly went bankrupt themselves over the loan, and Schilling defaulting on it. But there was like this one dude at 38 Studios who, until he passed away in 2015, basically just held on to all of the Amalur stuff and kind of just took care of it. And then at some point, THQ, now called THQ Nordic, because of course they merged with Nordic Games, swept it back in. And remember, I mentioned them a few minutes ago. THQ cut 38 Studios, or cut Big Huge Games loose, like back in 2009. And then they came back, and they bought up everything to do with this game and the Amalur universe. And not only did they do that, but then they actually released a remaster, which is what we're playing here, Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. Okay, the title's a little cumbersome, but whatever. And then they actually released an expansion. For this game, which actually fills me with a lot of hope. Because, here's the thing. I mentioned Ken Rolston was the original designer for the game, and that's true, the lead designer. But at some point, I kind of get this suspicion that he either moved up the chain to sort of more an executive producer level, or maybe even just kind of left the project entirely. Because another guy took over as lead designer. And that was a guy who started on this game as a combat designer, a guy named Ian Fraser, who I know through the Ultima Dragons fan community. Guess we should equip this sword we got here. And now Ian I've talked about before in another stream, because of course Ian went on to be the lead designer for Mass Effect Andromeda and for Star Wars Squadrons. Basically after Big Huge Games folded, he got a job first at BioWare Montreal, and then got a job at, BioWare Montreal closed, and most of the people there, I think, ended up at EA Motive. Ian certainly did. A lot of the art team also, from Reckoning also ended up at BioWare Montreal. And so, I've talked about, when I've streamed Mass Effect Andromeda, I've talked about how there's a lot of similarities between that game and this game. And really, there are. I mean, obviously, I'm just doing the intro section right now, so you're not going to be able to get a sense of it. But in terms of the world design, in terms of the classless system that's used for like managing your character, it's all, everything that's here in Amalur is reflected in Mass Effect Andromeda in various ways. And, hopefully over a few streams we'll kind of get to really see that. Also, if you've ever played like any of the Zelda games, haha, breaking barrels, yes. So, anyways, THQ acquired it and did a remaster and released some extra content. And that actually gives me a little bit of hope that we might one day see a second Reckoning. And the reason that I have, the reason that I would be stoked for that is, just basically after Big Huge Games closed, I actually had the opportunity to sit down with Ian in Baltimore over pizza. And we one of the things that I mentioned to him was that, like, I enjoyed this game immensely, and especially like some of the philosophical conceits that it really teases out as the plot progresses. And like Ian talked about how they had already started working on like Reckoning 2 and laying down ideas for Reckoning 2, in which they really wanted to explore a lot of that, because the core conceit of this game is that you, this voiceless protagonist, the entire world is governed by fate. Everybody in Amalur has a set destiny that's like inexorable, except you. You're like the one unfated, not controlled by destiny person in an entirely deterministic world. Which, I find philosophically fascinating. Like, just an amazing, just an amazing mess with your mind kind of thing. And it's kind of funny because, like, the game really only starts to explore it in, like, the latter half of its plot, which is kind of when it flipped from Rolston as lead designer to Fraser as lead designer.
You don't know?
It's but anyways, we're gonna dive into it a little bit here tonight. With luck I can clear this opening dungeon, and then we'll kind of get out into the wider world of Amalur. And you can see just how gorgeous this game is. If you've never played it for yourself, it's worth picking up just for how gorgeous the outside world is. The dungeon design's pretty fantastic too.
I wish I could tell you more. You showed no signs of life when we removed your new body from the well's waters. We just put it in the furnace room with the others. We would have never done that if we knew.
Uh-huh.
The Well of Souls is just ahead. You'll see. And,
great. Good.
And it works. It restored you to life. There will be plenty of time to explain later. We've got to get going.
But will there? Will there really?
His study on the ground floor of the tower. At least, I hope he's there. And safe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. I should probably grab some stuff here. Like this. Well, boots are better than nothing. Anything else here? Oh, killed this guy a while ago. Ooh, armor. Cool. Let's see. That's a little better. That's a little better. Well, at least I can take a bit of a beating now. Okay. Fun fact, your weapons can actually break in this game. They degrade over time. So, the more I hit boxes, the more I'm making life hard for myself later on. And yet, here we go. Because, might find some coins. If you're expecting a heart to pop up, don't worry about it. It's not going to happen. It's only slightly Zelda-like.
An end to death.
Ha, yeah. That doesn't seem good. Oh, yeah, by the way, the physics engine in this game, it's Havoc physics, which powers physics in tons of games. But Havoc physics in 2012 was a little jankier than it is now. But it does make for some funny situations later on. Like, the amount of rebound that an enemy has when you kill them is kind of directly indexed to, or seems to be directly indexed to, just how much you killed them by, just how much below zero you actually took their hit points. Which is kind of funny. It makes for funny situations later on. I mean, with this rusty sword, I ain't going to be doing much. But later on, once you actually, like, you know, craft yourself some really good weapons. Oh yeah, it has a full crafting system, by the way. Once you craft yourself some really excellent weapons, like, I mean, you can literally, like, home run a guy right out of view. It's really quite funny. Ooh, metal boots. Well, that's better. Let's see here. Could really use a better sword, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'll check that later. Alright, what's in here? Ooh, lockpicks. Not that I need them right now, but, you know. Better than nothing. Those look in better shape than some of my gloves. That one's not openable. Let's see what's here. Sure. Cool. You know what? We're gonna junk that. We'll junk that.
Wait. Do you hear something?
Uh-oh. So, now, I may be misremembering this, but I think this is one of the only games that I actually don't hate the archery system in. I usually hate the archery system in fantasy games. It's usually just, it's terrible, but I think it's actually half decent in Reckoning. We'll see. I may be misremembering.
Let's shoot them before they see us.
Too late. Of course, to do that, I would have to first inventory weapons, secondary, longbow. Oh, great.
Go.
Huh. But I want to do this thing. Okay, yeah. I think the archery does have auto-targeting, so maybe it's not that bad. Well, don't think I need to clutter up my junk pile with that. Inventory management is... Ha. Yeah. Inventory management in this game is a bit of a chore. You don't have a lot of inventory space at first. So... dealing with that.
If you catch an enemy unaware, their speed more than makes up for their size.
That's all well and good. But chakrams are where it's at in this game. We'll get to those later.
More up ahead. If you can sneak up on them with your daggers, you should be able to finish them quickly and quietly.
Now, here's the thing I don't remember. What is my sneak? R1 apparently. Cool. Ah, there we go. The stealth mechanics in this game actually work pretty well. You dead, Fran. Don't know if I can get both of these guys, but might be able to get one of them. Fun fact, there is actually an achievement for hitting an enemy so many times in the air, like I just did there. I don't think I quite hit it that time, but there is the juggling achievement for, you know, inflicting several strikes on an enemy while they are in the air. So, over the course of time here, maybe we're going to have to try and pick that one up. See, like, that's not a bad ensemble. I mean, the pants are a little whatever, but at least they kind of go. The rest of me is armored, so there's that at least. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the artwork? Like, this is this game. This is this game in a nutshell. Is you'll walk from you know, I mean, even this is like so richly designed, right? Like you come out here, you stick your nose out here a little bit. You can't walk down there, but like, you know, just like there's such rich design that goes into all of this. And then you'll turn the next corner and it's magical.
Cave blossoms only respond in the presence of magic. Perhaps there is more to you.
Literally magical. But like, it's beautiful. This game is beautiful. Especially once you get into the outside world. Like, you really have to see it. Let's see here. Oh, this. I don't need the robes. Almost never play as a magic user in these games. It's a spider. Alright, let's keep going. See? You just turn a corner and it is gorgeous. Don't really care about the hand wraps, but I can sell them for a few coins later. Oh, these guys. Spiders in this game are actually genuinely a pain in the butt. Like one of the enemies I don't like fighting. Right, so I don't usually engage with the but in this case
Completely covered the tunnel. Maybe you can use that staff to burn a path through.
yeah.
No, spiders, burn them! Burn them!
Admittedly, having some ranged weapons is probably best, but anyway. Just grab this while we're here. Don't really care about that other stuff. Yeah, that. Thank you. Oh, this again. Fun. But Ansel, I have all these boxes to break. And also a chest to loot.
That's what I intend to find out. She came out of the well.
Scholars are soft.
And she better get inside to see the old man.
Praetorians are a tougher breed.
Or those twatha make another push. You come out of the well and the twatha show up.
This is where we part ways. Take whatever you want from this armory. We might have a few
Great,
things
good.
that would fit you. Just make sure you get your shoes. We can hold off the Tuatha here. We can't risk you getting killed. Your proof
That middle thing there is based on my persuasion skill, which obviously I haven't leveled up, so I had only like a 5% chance of actually convincing him to, you know, do anything else to help me out.
I'll see you on the outside.
Nice that it gives you that percentage, though. Ah, here we go. Let's see. Okay, that's the same. We'll junk it. Yeah, I don't really care about those. There we go. That completes the ensemble.
Of impervious metal. Leather arm. Is thin, but will give you the speed. Simple cloth frees your body and mind. That's why mages prefer it.
Thought I could talk to this dude, but
Scholars are soft. The twatha will find my Praetorians.
whatever. Alright, let's keep going. Don't have all night after all. Apparently I took a bath here. Slightly creepy. Okay. Let's keep going. Ah, finally we find Hughes. Here again, just like the design, drink it in because like it's glorious.
You've made it. And look at you.
even with all you've been through. The Tuatha, your return from the dead? Please forgive me. You must be terribly confused by all of this. I am Fomerus Hughes, and this is my laboratory at Alistar. Everything you see here is dedicated to one thing, the Well of Souls, the pursuit of immortality. And you're my first success. If we only had the time, there's so much we might learn from one another. Too much to explain right now. The Tuatha have come to stop my work, but I don't believe they know about you. Not yet. What's important is getting you out of here safely. You're the only proof of what we've achieved here. I may not be able to save the well, but I can ensure that its only success is safe. We're in the Feylands, miles away from the front lines. I thought we were safe enough from the war, but it seems some of the Tuatha found their way here anyway.
As they do. We'll find them a lot throughout the game.
Of course you do. Please, though, we must hurry. I wish I could tell you more, but your death is a mystery to me as well.
Oh,
it seems
well,
that your
that's good.
memory died with your body. You see, the well is designed to capture the soul of someone recently deceased, recreating their physical form within its waters. Simple, really. Your rebirth is the first we might truly call a success. There have been others, but the results weren't quite right. It's been my life's work. Decade, but why did it work on you and no one? There are so many questions to ask, and if we're good,
Okay.
Good. We can't waste time.
Yes. But I want to stay and fight.
Absolutely not. I've got my notes, but it's most important that you stay safe. It's just that you're... Wait, where are you going?
Fascinating. Simply astounding. I'm not certain what's caused it, but somehow...
Yes, as I was saying, I'm not sure what... Perhaps I should go see.
Sir! Mr. Hughes! The Tuatha have reached the lab! They're inside the lab!
Oh, Ansel.
No! We've got to get you out of here now! Quickly! Follow the path to the town of Gorhart. Find Agath. He's a friend, and he may be able to help. No matter what else, stay alive!
Well, alright, fine then. Like I say, the physics engine's a little janky, but whatever. I don't think there's much to loot in here, so yeah, I guess we'll just head up the stairs. Lovely design. Anyway. Oh, those are bricks. I don't want that. Where's the other guy? Cool. You know, maybe I need to give staffs another look in this game. Never really used them before. Then again, in a world where there's chakrams, staffs are probably not what I need. We haven't seen chakrams yet. Probably because chakrams would be completely overpowered for the fight that's coming up just a little further up the stairs here. So maybe I will keep the... Oh, yeah, hang on, sorry. I just need to remind myself what... There we go. Health is this one. I'm gonna need that. In about now. If you can get the jump on these guys, it's great. But then there's that. Take out the squaddies here, and then at least I can focus on the troll. Alright. Okay, so. Well, I'm pressing X. Okay, what's the deal here? What, did I kill you too quick? There we go. Game gets a little comically bloody at times. Okay, so that was a little funky. Oh yeah, pay attention to those gems. I didn't really focus on them at the time, but well, anyway. We'll just quickly go through the weapons here. Why can't I junk those? Oh, I can put a ring on, get a little more health. Consumables look good. Other items. Huh. Don't know why I can't junk those. Anyways. And just like that, we come to the end of the dungeon. Oh, loading screens and tips. I have heard in reviews that the loading screen can be a bit long. Okay, this. Right here. Can't get in that way. That sucks. I still remember the first time I played this game. Just walking out and seeing this. And seeing the fish swimming in the water. It's just the most... It was mind-blowing. Just walking out and seeing, you know, this whole world right open up in front of me. And just the sheer beauty of it. You can swim, by the way. Yes, even in full plate armor, you can swim. And you can find stuff in the water. And there's fish in the water. And honestly, I think, like, the water is what really impressed me. Because, like, for me, I grew up in Alberta, Canada, which is landlocked. But I would spend a lot of my summers in British Columbia. My grandparents lived out there, and my dad, his job often took him into the interior of British Columbia. And so we'd spend a lot of time just driving around from campground to campground. And there's a lot of mountain streams in British Columbia that you can dive into and swim in. And maybe I think that's why this opening scene resonated with me so much. Because, like, I have literally just, you know, been able to swim up right to a waterfall. Swim up under a waterfall before. I've been in water that, you know, like you look down and it looks exactly like this. Just, you can see the rocky bottom and it's lit exactly like that. And it's just the best thing. And I think that's why. It's like, you know, like and I've swum next to fish, you know, like it's just, it was jaw-dropping to see the first time. It still is. I love this game. And I just love the beauty of its world. You really cannot overstate the sheer beauty of Amalur. Ooh. That sounds promising. Let's change into that just as soon as we get back to shore. I gotta level up anyways. Okay, well, let's see here. We better take a level of persuasion. So, skill trees. And again, this might seem familiar from Mass Effect. These trees are a little bit like Mass Effect's Andromeda's skill trees are a little bit more. They all follow a similar template. These ones, as you can see, are a little more all over the map. But they do all, broadly speaking, they do all, broadly speaking, you know, sort of lining up these skills. Do I want any of these? I don't know. Nice. We can't go into the Destiny system yet. It hasn't been unlocked to us. But, yeah, you can sometimes harvest reagents. Doesn't always work if you don't invest in that skill. But, anyways, yeah, so as you move up the skill trees, you unlock certain destinies, which, I mean, it's this exactly the same thing as like the profiles in Mass Effect.
Thank Matharu, another survivor. Are there any more? I suppose that's a little bit of kindness from fate. May those still trapped inside rest peacefully. Stay safe. We'll be moving soon.
I think one of these guys shows up later in the plot.
Survivor? But I've never seen you in the tower. Were you one of the Professor's assistants in the downstairs projects? Did he escape with you? That sounds like him. Professor Hughes was very thoughtful. I mean, he is very thoughtful. I'm sure he found a way to get out. He must have. We should be safe here. At least a little longer.
Oh yeah, we saw him in the we saw him in the other room there.
They really have a troll.
They have a cave troll.
I don't know how the Twather found us, but if they had a troll, it couldn't have been an accident. Fate was kind to collapse that doorway behind you, or they would have chased us into the glade. They're technically a type of wild fae, related to the fae of the summer and winter courts, actually. Dangerous enough in the wild. The Twather also use them in their army.
Gonna come back to all of that later too.
Fate weavers? Ah, charlatans. You swears by them. I'll be damned if I trust my future to some cards. Good luck out there.
Well, you know what? For the sake of the plot, let's go and find the Fate Weaver. We'll come back here, because there's more to explore in this area too. But, you know what? We'll take a little stroll through Amalur. Just admire the beauty, of which there is ample supply. And we'll see if we can find Agarth. There's a cave over here somewhere too that I want to check out. Oh yeah, here he is.
You've come from the tower, haven't you? Name's Agarth. Maybe you can help an old Fate Weaver, eh? Fate Weavers look at the great tapestry of fate. The threads will tell us how a life will unfold.
Like I said,
But
everything in
knowing
this
the
world is
future
controlled
and
by
being
destiny.
able to change it are two very different things. Did he? Poor old Fomerus Hughes. He respected the way the world works. What a shame. He's probably dead by now. The cards told me that the Well of Souls would work, but Hughes' success would come on the day of his death. He took it pretty well, honestly, although we did a lot of drinking after that. I suppose I could spare a little help in memory of Hughes, or in celebration of his success. Whichever.
Nice. Anyways.
You don't know much, do you?
No, I don't remember a darn thing.
Into the threads of fate and channels that energy through a focus. My order prefers cards. The cards are unique to each Fate Weaver, since we all see the weave differently. You're the one. Then that means it all makes sense now. The cards this morning. I drew the Gravedigger, the Running Man, and the Beast. Prepare yourself. They're coming.
So they are. More? Okay, this is actually worth showing off. And we're back to this.
What? How? What are you? The threads of fate. I've seen them before, but
I've never seen anyone manipulate them like that. You just changed how the world was supposed to work. How did you do that? You just... Fate is the will of the gods. No mortal should be able to change it. How is that even possible? Come here. I'm going to do a reading. You might be able to change the threads, but fate will still have a plan for you. I promise not to tell you if I see your death. That would be my guess. He was an academic, but he had a proper respect for fate's plan, unlike most gnomes. You're nervous. Relax. This is what fate weavers do. I'll be seeing your place in the pattern of destiny. Who you are, what you've done, where your path takes you. Or, at least, I should be. You're real, right? I swear I haven't had that much. Fate's weave is always hard to see. It's in motion, hard to make out, but undeniably there. Yours is just... missing. This doesn't make sense. All mortal creatures have a place in the pattern. You should have one too, dead or not. If this is true, and I'm not saying I believe it, then your path is yours to determine.
And here we go, the destinies. We'll go with Brawler for now.
It could mean nothing, or it could mean everything.
But yes, as you can see, the destinies directly tied to your skills, very like the profiles in Mass Effect Andromeda. Or I guess the profiles in Mass Effect Andromeda are very like this game, which makes sense since, you know what, hey, the game's shared a lead designer and several other team members. It's a good system, it works incredibly well. And it does, you can shift it on the fly, which is awesome.
What could this all mean?
I think I'm just going to run ahead a little bit, because if I remember, well, I guess, actually, there's a good question. It's nice to explore the world a little bit. I do want to come back and actually explore some of the surroundings over there, but yeah, we're going to have to deal with that too. And there's these things.
Of all the songs in halls of lore, there echoes none more grand than Olain's many feats of might, the pure and lady of the light. She is a knight of golden knot. She is the cure seeker, the conscience of the summer fae. She is the heart of spring, of day.
Got a better sword. There's a town just up ahead here, and I want to get to that. And then I'll probably loop back and go and check out like the stone candle mines and all the rest there. Just walk around a corner and all of a sudden, something else beautiful to look at.
Everyone just stand back. The warden can't work when you're crowding so close. Go back to your business. Go
I
on.
have a feeling like I'm going to have to deal with that too. What's in here? Oh, so many things. It would take way too long to explain all of this, but I want to point out one thing in particular. This game came out alongside, I want to say, Mass Effect 2. And, of course, because it was released under the EA Partners program, if you co-owned Mass Effect 2 and Reckoning, you actually got bonus items in both. In Reckoning, you got this whole set, which actually was, this was actually a really good starter set. See, there's health regen, and then if you have the whole set, of course, you get extra stuff, mana regen, extra armor, things like that. And then in Mass Effect 2, you got, it's like a weapon, I think, and possibly some possibly some other stuff. There's at least one weapon, the chakram launcher, which, yes, I know, the chakrams. I always mention the chakrams. Well, let's just, you know what, let's kit out in Shepherd. And hey, we have some weapons here too. Let's grab weapons. So, no. Oh, those are even better. Those are Fey Blades. I think that's a bow. That's a shield. It's a hammer, I think. Might take that. That's a bow. That's also a Mass Effect reference there. Cool. Twists of Fate also come up. They can actually be both disadvantageous and advantageous. But anyways, let's kit ourselves out with the things. These are chakrams. Trust me when I say these things are the best thing. And here we go. Hey, look, Mass Effect 2. Alright, armor. And that means, by the way, that I have the whole set. Those are chakrams. I think we have maybe... well... take some time to wander back. I love how buttery smooth this is. It's just great. I'd say more for Agarth popping in like that, but whatever. There's a bear somewhere over here. Let's go find him. Oh, something over here? And that is why chakrams are not a thing to mess around with. Okay. Well, I'm going to call it for the night, so thank you for watching. This has been Intermittent Nonsense, and yeah, we'll see you again maybe tomorrow night. Maybe we'll explore this game a little more. Kind of looks like Mass Effect N7 armor, doesn't it?